Hey guys, Femi of LandVerse. I'm doing my favorite drive down PCH right now. I like to do this drive and just reflect on where I've come, where I'm going, so on and so forth. And one of the things I was thinking about was all the mistakes that I've made flipping land. And even though I've had what I consider to be a good amount of success, I've made multiple seven figures flipping land and profit over the last few years, I still think that there was a lot of juice I could have squeezed out over the past few years by not making some of these mistakes. And if you guys like this style of raw video more, just let me know. I enjoy doing these kinds of videos where it's more so reflective. I feel like I get a lot of good feedback from people about these, as opposed to the videos I do where it's like maybe more sit down style and more TV style. I try to split test between the two, so let me know what you guys like. So one thing that I did when I started was I used to think that sending the mail was like the lottery, right? I used to think it was give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna leave this in here. So I actually I have this thing taped. Anyways, I have the thing taped to my car. I need to get an actual tripod. Anyways, I used to think that it was a lottery, right? And I tried to send out tens of thousands of mailers on my first mailer. I sent out tens of thousands of mailers, and all I did was I looked up, hey, what are the areas where there's like bodies of water and you can have lake houses and beach houses? That's what I looked up. Pretty good idea, right? Like, and you would think that's a good idea, sure. But I didn't analyze anything about sales velocity, average time on market, literally none of it. Average price point. I didn't set any profit target for any of the deals. I was just like, people like beach houses and people like lake houses, so this should work. It did not work how I thought it would work at all. And after my first mailer, I remember being so disgruntled because I was like, well, what the fuck? I spent, at least at the time, it was probably about $10,000 that I spent. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess this thing doesn't work, right? And that's what some people will think, like, okay, I sent out a few mailers, I guess this thing doesn't work for me, right? Or you have a few conversations. And then if I'm being honest, did I try to get on every call and talk to every seller and negotiate every deal? No. What I was waiting for was someone that was going to call and say, hey man, I'm ready to sell and I want to sell for 20 cents on the dollar. I'll sell to you. But the reason why I thought that was because the content that I was watching at the time was telling me that. So the content that I was watching, oh yeah, you just send out the mail and you get the mailers back and you call the sellers and you you don't negotiate with them, don't negotiate with the seller, just send the mailer out, they'll call you back and you'll close a deal. And like, that's what I was watching. So my head was filled with that propaganda, quite frankly. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And I'd be watching interviews about some lady says she makes, $500K on a deal, and all she did was send out a mailer, and then people called back and they wanted to sell, and she only had to talk to them 1 or 2 times. Like, these are the stories I was hearing. And maybe some of this stuff did happen back in the day before I came on the scene, but this has never happened to me. I've always had to work deals. So I wish I just would have played the long game and had that in my mind earlier, right? My initial plan was to make as much money as possible wholesaling real estate and land flipping. And actually, my initial goal was to make $150,000 a year, which is funny because I've done that in a day before. But my initial goal was to make $150,000 a year. And I surpassed that wholesaling real estate within a few months. And then I got into land. So I had already seen some success, but I was so used to like seeing quick success and quick wins because I had always been good at everything that I did. Everything that I did, I'm always been good at it. And this took some time for me. It did take time. It took some testing, it took some split testing, it took learning, it took failing forward, it took being kicked in the teeth, and that's the reality of this business. And I think when you watch certain content that might tell you just send out the mail, send out the text, and then you'll get deals, There's a lot that you're missing with that. You're not being told about how to implement a follow-up process. You're not being told how to implement an acquisitions process. You're not being told how to target deals that have really that have exit velocity. You're not being told any of these things. When you're not being told any of that, then it becomes extremely difficult for you to get through the storms, because you're thinking something is wrong with you, as opposed to that's just the nature of the business. Like, this is a business in where we get paid to solve problems. We get paid to solve problems, and the more problems you solve, the better it will become for you. The more problems you solve, the more money you'll make. The more times you're able to follow up, the more money you'll make. And I just didn't understand that at first. And had I understood that, I would have gotten a lot more deals done, because I've looked back at some of those leads, and those early leads that I was telling you guys about, we still call those leads now today, but I wasn't at that time. And I've gotten deals from it since. I've actually gotten deals from some of those mailers since then. But after that first 45 days when nothing came in, I assumed everything was fucked. I was like, oh man, this sucks. This is a scam. There's no way. Like, I just spent 10 grand. Are you kidding me? And the other thing that I wish I would have done is gone after bigger deals faster and actually set profit targets for my deals. This is not something I did early on at all. I didn't set profit targets for my deals at all. I didn't say, okay, I want to make a specific amount. I want to make this specific amount on these deals. And what's the goal for this mailer? What's the goal for this marketing campaign? I didn't do any of that. It was just like, okay, let me just pull some properties. I guess this is what's... One second. Hold on. You see, you guys, I got Gorilla Tape. Taping this thing to my car. It's like moving on me. There we go. Let's try that. Alright. That should work. That should be cool. Alright. But I didn't know how to do market research. So if I had known how to do market research faster, I would have been able to target after deals and where I'm going to make a significant amount of money. You know, I'm talking about the deals that you guys have seen me do. I mean, multiple six-figure deals, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 deals, so on and so forth. Because those deals are deals that can quite literally change the trajectory of your life. The average person makes way less than $100,000 per year. Like, on a global scale, the average person makes way less than $100,000 per year. And so if you're able to get consistent cash injections like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 plus, well, then what starts to happen is you're able to scale so much faster. Your profit margins are so much larger. Your return on ad spend is so much larger than if you were going after deals where you're making 10, 15K. Like, the first land deal I ever did, I made 50 grand on, and I just reinvested that back into the business. I didn't do anything where I was like, okay, well, straight into consumerism. Like, no, I reinvested it back into the business because I wanted to grow the business. And I think that when you understand that, like, hey, you just go after these bigger deals and you know how to do it. The problem is most people don't know how to do it. And like, I have people that come to me, oh, Femi, man, I watch your videos and I went after this deal. It never sold on the market. I listed it for $700,000. It never sold on the market. And then I look at the market that they're in, and there's 1,000 properties for sale, and there's 50 properties that have sold in the last year. And I'm like, this is just at the basic level. You don't know this? And I think that's like just getting educated as possible so that you can avoid the mistakes. That's another thing. I tried to watch a lot of the YouTube videos instead of just getting as educated as I could, because I was like, I don't need to pay these people. No. I'll figure it out myself. No. I know everything. No. Like, no, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I don't want to pay these people. These guys are grifters. That's what I used to think. Until I just took a chance. And then I took another chance, and then I learned more. And then I took another chance, and I learned more. Then I bought another course, and I learned more. Then I joined another group, then I learned more. It just became just a snowball effect. And then you meet people in some of these groups. You meet people in some of these mentorships. You make connections that, like, you know, I have a lot of friends that are in the land investing space that I talk to very consistently, where I like genuinely consider them friends. I would spend time with them. I would go to dinner with them. And I have done all these things. I've gone to dinner. I've gone to lunch with a lot of land investors. Not even like to talk about land. Like, sure, we'll talk about land, but like, we'll also talk about family. We'll talk about like what our goals are. We'll talk about, hey, like what's after land? Like, do you have anything that you want to do after this? Because like, truth be told, I did not get into land investing to be a land investor my whole life. I got into it to use it as a spring pad to the next thing that I want to do, to 8, 9, and 10 figure opportunities. And so that's one thing that like I really cherish, are the relationships that I've built with people and the connections that I've built with people in a lot of these different places. The other thing that I made a mistake on early on was just getting too comfortable. I got too comfortable with my 50K months, 70K months, 80K months, so on and so forth. I started getting really, really comfortable with that. You make $100,000 in a day for your first time. It changes the way that you think about money entirely. Like, completely. It's like, this stuff is not even real. So it's like, I guess my concept on money, it's like, it's not even like $100,000 is not a lot to me. And it's like crazy for me saying that, because me 5, 6 years ago, like $100,000 was all I wanted to make. And so now for that not to be a lot, it's like, wow. And I think with that, I got really comfortable. I got really comfortable with being able to like live my life and do what I wanted to do. And there were definitely dips in where I did not push as hard in the business. There are dips in where like I just didn't go hard. I wasn't trying to like build or scale anymore, because really like I hit my goal. I had hit my goal very early on, and I far surpassed it. And then I started investing my money, and then I was like, damn, like I don't have to do any deals anymore if I don't want to. Like, I got to a point like that, and I got too comfortable. And that was a mistake, because the potential and the abilities and everything that God gives you, you have to be able to exercise that to the fullest extent. You have to be able to exercise all the capabilities that God gives you to the fullest extent. So if you feel like you have the potential to do something, you have to do it. You have to do everything in your power to take it to the highest level. And I went through dips and where I just didn't do that because I just got too comfortable. And now it's like, how dare I get too comfortable? How dare I not go after my dreams and my goals with full force, because God put those dreams and those goals in my head. He put that in my head for a reason. It didn't just pop up. So if you feel like you can do something, you got to go do it. It's not like, oh yeah, man, I'm chilling. I'm chilling, man. I'm comfortable. Like, gross, disgusting. Work harder, push harder. Great, man. You made good money, but can you 10x this? Can you 10x this? Because if you're not going to 10x it, what else are you going to do? If you're not progressing, you're regressing. If you're regressing, you're failing. And so that's one thing I learned very early on, is like to not get comfortable. And now it's like, I don't really look at the amount of money we make and look at that as like a trophy. I just look at it as like, all right, cool. This is what I was supposed to do. Now, how can I do more? And I just never allow myself to get satisfied with it. And I'm always more worried about the inputs of what I have to do, whether it be being a better leader, whether it be spending more on marketing, whether it be approving better markets, whether it be any of that, whether it be approving better deals that we fund, whether it be any of that. I'm way more focused on the inputs of it now than I am focused on the money. And that's another thing, man. Like, a lot of people are so focused on like what's going to happen on the other end, but you don't want to put the quality in on the front end. You don't want to get on the phone. And the people that I see getting on the phone, the people that I see following up with leads, the people that I see adding touch points, the people that I see that are adding systems and split testing, the people that I see that are just extremely granular with their business, these are the guys that are doing deals consistently. These are the guys that, like, I have clients text me every single day. Hey, Femi, just got another deal under contract. Just got another deal under contract. Hey, just close this deal. Hey, can you fund this deal? Hey, can you, like, why? Because all of these people are focused on what? Process. And when you focus on process of input, making sure that that is extremely streamlined, well, then you get results every time. Every single time you'll get results, and you'll get great results at that. And so understand that you have the ability to make as much money as you possibly can, and you should do everything in your power to juice that to the max, and don't let anything stop you from doing that. Nothing. The other mistake that I made too was hiring too fast. I hired way too fast in my business, like literally like a month in. I was trying to like, instead of taking calls, I was trying to have someone take all my calls, all the acquisition calls, everything, and I didn't set that up correctly at all. I was like, I don't need Pat Live. I don't need an answering service. I'll just hire somebody to take my calls for me. And then after a month or so, they're getting all these hate calls and they're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for at all. I don't want to do this. And I think a part of me too, I didn't want to take the calls because I think I was being lazy, to be honest with you. I think I was being lazy because you have to go through that period of time and where you're taking the calls yourself. Why do you have to go through that period of time? You have to go through that period of time because you have to be able to be on the phone enough to be able to track what good metrics are for performance and for profitability. You have to be able to track that. And if you don't do it yourself, you're not going to be able to teach other people how to do it. If I didn't do deals myself, if I didn't run a business myself, how the fuck can I teach somebody else how to do it? You cannot do that. People are gonna fail and fail fucking miserably. So you can't expect to not do something and not having done it yourself at a high level in your business and then try to hire it out, because guess what? When people are messing up, when people are not doing a good job, when people's numbers are low, you don't even know because you haven't done it. You have not done it. You haven't done it at a high level or any level. And so hiring too fast because I'm thinking like, oh yeah, delegation. Like, okay, cool. But what about your SOPs? Do you even have SOPs? Do you even know, like, okay, so what happens when a call comes in? What do you guys do? What are the first 3 things that you do when a call comes in? What do you do? Do you know? When it's time to list a property, what do you do? How do you even list a property? How? What happens when a seller signs a contract, you guys get to closing, and you don't hear anything from them? They ghost you. What do? You know that? Have you been through that? If you haven't been through that, how are you going to show somebody else how to go through it? And if you go and hire people and then you're like, oh yeah, well, this guy said this or this guy said that, and they're not hearing from you as the authority, well, they could just go work for the other guy. Why do they want to work for you? So you have to put in the work to be the authority with your team. If you're not the authority with your team has no respect for you. You have to be the authority. You have to be the point of like, all right, if this shit is burning down, we got to talk to him. We got to talk to her. And most people that I see don't do that. I've seen the things that I have seen when people come to me. Oh my God, like the clients that come to me, and there's nothing bad on them. They don't know, and they're ill-advised. Many of my clients have been very, very ill-advised, and it hurts me. And that's why I make this kind of content, because I know someone out there is being ill-advised, not getting the deals that they want to get, not making the money that they should be making in their business because you are ill-advised, because someone just told you to send more mail, or someone just told you to, you'll figure it out. Someone just told you that, but they didn't actually go in, look under the hood and see exactly what was happening with your business in order to get you to where you're supposed to go. They didn't do that. So I wish that I wouldn't have hired too fast. And for all of you that are thinking about like, okay, let me hire. I mean, this is the other thing too. Like if, let's say it's like a smaller managerial role to help you like with, little tasks, right? That's different than like you hire an acquisition manager, because that's literally where the majority of your revenue is going to come from. Majority of your money that you're going to make is coming from being on the phone. So if you hire that out immediately and you haven't taken 1,000 phone calls. I took 1,000 phone calls before I hired my next acquisition manager. 1,000 documented phone calls. And if you haven't done that, well then, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to know everything you need to know. The next thing is, I think I said this already, but I wish I would have gotten help sooner. I do wish I would have gotten help sooner, because if I would have gotten help sooner, it just would have been much easier for me. I would have been able to know, okay, this is where I pivot. I shouldn't do this. I need to go after this market. And then also, like, not just getting help, but getting help from people who like know what they're talking about. Because I've paid a lot of people in this space, because I also wanted to make sure that I had the best program possible and I had the best quality of advice possible for anyone. So anyone that comes to me, whether they want to build from zero, whether they want to scale from a certain point, whether they want to rebuild, I've done all those things. Whether they want to come to me and do bigger deals, I've helped people do all this. But I've been able to help people do all this because I have learned, I would say I've learned almost everything I could about this space. And there's always something new. There's always something new every day, and I continuously learn about it as well. I definitely don't know everything, but I know a lot. And I know a lot because I went and got as much help as I could. So I paid people for calls. I paid people for consult. I would like message people and say, hey, you know, can I pay you for 2 hours? Yeah, no problem. And people I'm saying who are doing multiple 7 figures in profit per year. And I would pay, I would get on the phone, I would talk to them. A lot of guys that funded deals for me, I would talk to them and say, how did you get into the, like I asked the question, how did you get into the position where you were able to fund millions of dollars worth of deals for me? How did you get into that position? And how are you only taking, you know, a small return on that? And how can I do that? And I got this advice. I would sit down, I would have lunch, dinners. They invite me to their family events. Like these are the kind of connections that I've made in this space. And why? Because I knew that I wanted to be the best at this. And I wanted to teach other people how to be the best at this too. Those are the two things I wanted to do. I wanted to become the best. I wanted to reach a height. I wanted to do a lot of deals. I wanted to make a lot of money, take care of my family, and then also I wanted to be able to pay that forward later on. Because some of the experiences I've also had have been the complete opposite of good experiences. They've been terrible experiences with people that I've worked with and people that I've paid to learn from. They've been terrible. I've gone through all kinds of stuff with that. But I went through that for a reason. The other thing I wish I would have done is fire faster. I've hired and fired a lot of people, and every time it's like something I'm still trying to get better at in business is like knowing when to let somebody go. Like you got to know how to let someone go. If they're not performing, if they're always sick and they're always making excuses for why this and why that, instead of just doing the work, well, then you got to fire them. And for me, it would always be like, okay, well, this person has potential and, you know, we got a good relationship, but we have a good relationship because I pay you $1,000 a week, or I pay you a few $100s a week. That's why we have a good relationship, because I pay for your bills. And I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. And sometimes these things are transactional relationships, and you have to know how to fire faster. If someone is not performing up to par, then you have to know how to fire faster. On the front end, remember earlier when I said if you're not doing it yourself, then you don't know what good performance is. And always remember that a good employee will probably perform at first about 70 to 80% of where you're at. But if you really put time into a good employee, oh my God, they will be better than you. You put good time into a good employee. And how do you know if you have a good employee or not? You know if you have a good employee because they're always trying to get more training. They're always trying to get better. It's always like improvement. It's always improvement. And there's like a level of obsession. All of the people that I've worked with that have been the best people, there's a certain level of obsession for where we're going. There's a certain level of obsession for like making the calls, doing the follow-ups, doing the negotiations. There's a level of obsession for that. Like they love the game. And like when you love the game, you just get so much better at it. And so you got to learn how to love the game. That's one thing too. Like I've been kicked in the teeth by this business. Like for me to be here, I've been kicked in the teeth by it. And so I don't want you to think that this thing just comes easy to you. And that's why you need things like direct implementation. You need someone to say, hey man, here's exactly where you want to go, and I can help you get there. Here's everything we have to do. Like a straight line. If you have a straight line as opposed to like going like this, well, then you're going to get there a lot faster. But just learning how to love the game and learning how to love the process of doing the deals is just such an important thing. And I do wish that I would have learned that earlier, because every time I've enjoyed the process of something, the process of building something, the process of helping someone build their business, the process of, just all of it, just like the inputs, man. The inputs are so fun if you let it be fun. If you're just so worried about the end result, well then, man, like, good luck. Because you think that it's going to happen for you overnight, and it just will not. The other thing, another mistake that I've made is not reading through title. I have not read through title on a few occasions, and I've definitely got kicked in the pants by it. And gladly, nothing that lost me my shirt or even lost me any money, but definitely a few situations where if I wasn't crafty, I would have been in trouble. If I didn't know how to sell property, if I didn't know how to sell, if I didn't have sales skills, I would have been in trouble. And I think just making sure that you read through title, making sure that you actually read through the contracts. A lot of people say they do it, but they never really do it. Read through every contract twice, because contracts are enforceable. Read through title, read through everything, and like, understand it. If you don't understand it, ask questions. That's really important. And also just making sure that like you do research on your sellers too, because I've had situations with sellers where, this happened on multiple occasions actually, where we think that we've got this deal under contract and we're going to close on it, and then they end up having dementia. How am I supposed to know that the seller has dementia? I don't know that. How are we supposed to know? And you go back and look at the calls, there's no sign of them being like having a lack of mental acuity. There's no sign of it whatsoever. And so just making sure that you really speak to your sellers, making sure that you know them, making sure that you get things in writing, making sure that you record all your calls, because I've avoided some nightmare situations in this business with people calling us scammers and calling us grifters and threatening legislation and lawsuits and like all these things, and been in the news. Like all that stuff has happened before. And I think I would have avoided a lot of that by just dotting my I's and crossing my T's. But then in this business, like, look, if you guys are going to get to a certain level in life, you have to understand that once you have a target on your back, people are going to come for you. And even now, in my life, I do have a target on my back, and people come for me all the time. People try to, say negative things. They'll try to, down you. They'll try to downplay like this. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, I guess it's human nature, but I don't do that. And so, I'm always positive. I try to be as positive as possible with everyone. And so I think that it's important for you to just know that, like, as you grow in your business, as you start to make more money, you will become a target, and you just have to be well equipped. So I didn't do that at first, but then I realized, like, okay, you need to hire good lawyers. You need to have good lawyers. You need to have good accountants. You need to have everything buttoned up. If you don't have everything buttoned up, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where, hey buddy, you're in trouble, right? And you don't want that. You want to make sure that you're protected at all times, especially as you grow. So make sure you protect your money, protect your business, you're filing, you're doing everything you're just supposed to be doing properly. The last thing that I learned about this, and mistakes that I've made, was not closing deals out of desperation. And this is something that I did many times before. And I've never been in a situation where I was like down to my last. I've never been in that kind of situation, but I have been in situations where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go sell some stuff in order to pay this bill, because I sent out a lot of mail and no deals have come in. That happened a couple times early on in my career, like 2021, early 2022, and then there was a point, I remember this very, very clearly, mid 2022, where things just started rolling and taking off. But there was a good stint of time in where I closed deals out of desperation because I was like, I have to make money. I have to make money. And so you close a deal where the margin is not really there. You end up making $3,000 or $4,000 on a deal that you worked hours and hours and hours for. And so you really made like $5 an hour when you count all the shit. So it wasn't even worth it in the first place. And so it's just very stupid. Like, don't do anything out of desperation. Don't do anything out of angst. Don't do anything out of like, I have to do this. When you do things out of that space, you're doing it from the worst mind frame you could possibly be in. The worst possible mind frame you could be in is the mind frame of angst or anxiety or desperation. I have to do this, or sadness or anger. Like, you don't want to make decisions from that mind frame. And people that make decisions from that mind frame lose. People that like, oh, I was making this money before and now I'm not making the money. Oh my God. Oh, like, you start doing all that, man. It's like, you're going to lose. What do you think is going to happen if you're like anxious? And like, there's a difference between being locked in and focused to being anxious and making decisions out of desperation. And so now I don't close deals out of desperation. I pass on so many deals because I know that the deals are going to come. They always do. Everything always comes in good time when it's supposed to. And am I aggressive with marketing? Am I aggressive with everything? Absolutely. But that's because that's what you're supposed to do. It's not out of anxiety. It's not a desperation. It's not because I have to do this, and if I don't do this, I'll die tomorrow. That's not what it is. I think you just have to learn how to have this. You have to learn how to have this maniacal drive that is rooted in abundance. You have to have like a maniacal drive about yourself that's rooted in great abundance, and I can accomplish anything. And it doesn't matter what my current circumstance is. It doesn't determine who I am. My current circumstance does not determine who I am, who I'm going to be. It doesn't determine my permanent situation. My current circumstance is not my permanent situation. And that's what you have to tell yourself constantly. If you're not where you want to be right now, there's a reason for that. It's because you're not doing things that you're supposed to be doing. If you're not making the money, it's not going to take time. It's because you're doing things right now that you're not supposed to be doing. If you're not making the money you want to make, there's a reason for that. So you have to understand, like, all right, if I'm not where I want to be in my business, if deals are not consistent, well, then I'm doing something wrong. What do I need to do correctly? What do I need to change? What do I need to correct? Who do I need to talk to? What connection do I need to make? What kind of mail do I need to send? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to do? You have to ask yourself those questions. And when you do that, your business begins to blossom and grow. But never, ever close deals out of desperation, because you closing deals out of desperation will leave you with pennies, literal pennies. And so if you guys like this style of video, if you guys got to the end of the video, appreciate you for watching all the way through. Let me know in the comments what you guys found helpful about this video. What lessons resonated with you? Have you been through any of these things before? Have you not been through any of these things before? Let me know. And if you guys liked the video, feel free to like the video, subscribe, and then also comment, love it. Comment either love it or comment what you liked about the video as well. And I'll see you guys on the next video.